friends, good morning. Brian here from Guitars and Cigars. So we're going to do part 2 of my first impression of the Epiphone Alex Lifeson Access Les Paul Custom. Picked it up about a month ago. I haven't had a lot of opportunity to go through the guitar up until a couple days ago. One of the things that we did notice is the action is a tiny bit high for my liking, and it also has 10s. I'm going to change it over to 9s, and then I'm going to adjust the height at a later date. I'm not 100% familiar with what to do to change my height on a Floyd Rose. I only have a little bit of experience, so we're going to do that in like a week. But one of the things I did notice is all of my fine tuners here are almost maxed out. So what we're going to do is I'm going to loosen up the nut lock, tune it to 440, perfect E. But before I tune it, I'm going to drop all these down to about 50%. That will allow me the maximum to go sharp or flat. So we're going to go through that process real quick right now. All right, so first and foremost, with the guitar that was in the compartment in the case came a package of Allen wrenches. One is going to be smaller, which is going to be for your various things on your Floyd Rose itself. And then the other is going to be a larger one, which is going to unlock your tuning locks here. So we'll give this a turn. Loosen that up. Give that a turn. Give that a turn. Now, we can set it at perfect E once we've adjusted our fine tuners down the end. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to relieve tension on all the strings just to make it easier for the fine tuners to move. And then what we're going to do is all of these are, like I said, super high. So we're going to put them all the way down. So basically what we did is we bottomed out all of the fine tuners. So they're all the way at the bottom. Okay. Now we're going to bring them up about halfway. So they're all going to be, this will allow for sharp and flat fine tuning is what's going to happen here. So we're kicking all these back up. Just kind of put your finger across and you'll be basically in the ballpark. Last Floyd Rose I had gotten a guitar with had the same issue. So I'm pretty sure when they do the quality assurance, they just basically tune it however they need to and call it a day. All right. So as you can see, we're pretty even and we're about halfway up. Now we're going to tune the guitar back to standard 440.
May I have your attention, please? I have the government of the United States of America, I would like to welcome you to the beginning of the greatest adventure of your lives.
All right, as you'll see in the other video, we got the back off where your trem is. So there's your springs. You can look down into the back of the Floyd Rose. And I'm fairly impressed. The routing in this is really good. Excuse me. I've actually been inside a couple of regular Gibson Les Pauls, and they haven't been quite as nice. So you can change how your tension is, how much tension you're going to have by changing your springs, changing the positions where it connects into your Floyd Rose. That will definitely change the action on how the Floyd Rose works. So that is the Floyd Rose part of the back of the guitar. Pro tip I've talked about is do not use electric screwdrivers when working on your guitars, at least in this aspect. Always use a manual screwdriver, that way you can maintain control at all times. Last thing you want to do is drag your screwdriver across the back of your shiny new Les Paul. And I always put in all of the screws first, get them so they're snug, not tight. And then I will go in and tighten everything up once they're in, doing the cross method. So go here, 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 and then across. All right, so we got the screws off of the back of the switch plate. I'm just taking that off. Now we're going to take the plate off. Again, just your standard three-way switch. But again, while the finish is not perfect underneath where the cap sits, the routing inside is certainly for an Epiphone, is exceptional. I don't see any jagged routing. I don't see any chunks taking out. I mean, I've seen some where literally there's a great big chunk out of here and it almost comes out the side of the guitar here. But this is great. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put this back together. Snug, snug, snug. Tight, tight, tight. Just to the point where you feel resistance. Do not push it because you will strip it. All right, that cover is back on. Like I said, tighten it to the way you start to feel it getting snug, and then give it another crank or two until you start feeling resistance and stop. Now we're going to take off the back cover where the electronics are for the potentiometers, and we can see where the jack goes in. All right, so we got our 4 screws out, and there we go. Again, I am very impressed with the routing on the cavities on this guitar. Literally, I have seen some that look worse than, Democratic budget proposals. So you've got your regular tone pot here. These 3 look different because they're push-pull. This guitar has coil splitting as well as some other blending options. So, perfect. You can see where your hole is for your jack. Again, routing looks really good, you know, yeah, especially for an Epiphone. Like I said, I've seen some Epiphone routing jobs that look like garbage. So whoever did this guitar, bravo, sir, bravo, or ma'am, or ma'am. So that's what that is. Potentiometers can be changed. You can get a different tightness. They will give you some different frequency response changes, what have you. I'm not making any electronic changes on this guitar whatsoever. I know some people have talked about how they're going to change the pickup, so they have changed the I'm not changing a thing on it. I put on strap locks. That's pretty much all I'm doing to this guitar other than playing it. Now, if this was a Kahler tremolo, I would put a detuner on it. Eddie Van Halen invented this thing called a detuner, where basically your low E string, you pop this one knob and it will drop it into drop D. But I do not believe Floyd Rose offers that, not that I want to put it on anyways. So we're going to put the cover back on the same way. We're going to do all four till they're snug, and then we're going to do the cross method until you feel some resistance. Again, do not over tighten because you will strip the wood. All right, so we got the back cover for the knobs, the potentiometers back on. All three, can't count, need more coffee, are back in. Again, quickly, do not use an electric screwdriver. Electric screwdriver, you're going to be like Van Halen. And you're going to carve it. So anytime I'm working on the guitar where I'm going to be near the finish, I always use a regular screwdriver. I've got various ones depending on what you're obviously doing. Do yourself a favor. Always practice that safety feature. The other thing is when you're putting these back in, you want to A, tighten on the cross, and B, do not over tighten, because if you over tighten, you will absolutely strip this stuff out. So next we're going to do a couple of sound tests. All right, so we're back. So I'm running through my Champion 100 Fender. We are on the clean channel. This is, everything is on 10, and I am in the raised position. Middle, nice and full. Now in the rhythm position. So this does coil splitting. There's all kinds of other stuff that this thing does. We're going to go into that on part 3. I'm going to talk about what each one does coil splitting wise, what it splits, how the blend works, and we're also going to do some beating on the Floyd Rose to see how that responds. I might have to change a spring or a position. It's all based on how you play. I don't use a whammy bar a lot, but I want to learn Limelight, the Limelight solo, so I need some sort of whammy bar. Hence, this guitar will certainly do that. So, overall, I'm very happy with the guitar. As you saw, I opened up the cavities. Everything was nice and clean. The wiring looked great. I mean, as I said before, I've opened up the back of some Gibsons through the years that have looked like absolute horror shows. I mean, they look worse than my beard. So I'm very, very impressed with this guitar overall so far. The Grover tuners work great. The lock works great. Obviously I'm gonna change the strings. I'm gonna put 9s on here, get them broken in, reset everything once again, and then I'm gonna do a video on just how to set the Floyd for string height, and then reset the intonation, because I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm thinking this may need like an eighth of a turn on the truss rod, but I'll get out my other tuner and we will investigate that. That will be technically part 4 of this video series. So next weekend we're going to be going through all the tones, and we're going to do a little bit of whammy bar action to see how that responds. So, we certainly appreciate you here at Guitars and Cigars. Thanks for tuning in. Brian here from Guitars and Cigars. More to come. Enjoy your day.